Very good. Well, welcome everyone. Happy Thursday. We have John Nelson and Ernest Swindell here today as our presenters, and we are excited to bring a session today on how Microsoft Dynamics 365 Contact Center is transforming citizen and student engagement with AI-powered IVR capabilities. We're going to show you how to deliver natural conversational experiences through an intelligent IVR experience. And we're really excited because we just received FedRAMP certification on these capabilities last Monday and can now offer it to our government customers who are leveraging our government cloud. And that is our topic today. We do, if you want to advance, John, we will aim to provide a digital event today that respects all individuals. And we ask that everyone assist in providing a welcoming and safe environment for everyone. We do bring 3 of these sessions to our customers each month. So if you have a suggestion for a topic, drop that in the chat today and we will consider that in our schedule. The next slide, to minimize any distractions or potential noise, background noise. We're going to leverage the chat today for questions during the session. If we have time at the end, we will certainly unmute the lines after turning off the recording and take live questions as well. And then the last one here is emails. We will send you an email following the session, probably tomorrow, with a link to the recording. You can go ahead and share that with other team members. And if you don't wish to receive those emails in the future, just email back and we'll make sure we take you off the distribution going forward. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Mr. Nelson and Mr. Swindell. And thank you guys for bringing this topic to our customers today. Greatly appreciate it.
Okay. First and foremost, I wanted to say thank you all for being here. Second of all, I wanted to say what we're talking about. We're going to talk about smarter conversations today, really about unlocking the idea of the contact center voice and IVR capabilities. So that's really what our objective is. You'll see a lot of the same tools because we leverage the same tools to do both chat experiences as well as voice experiences. So you'll get to see some things that are familiar, but you'll see how to extend it with conversational voice. Here's a little bit of an overview of what we're going to do. We're going to do a quick product overview, talk about the architecture, get into specifics on the voice channel, talk about how you create those generative conversations. And then, of course, Ernest is going to do a great demo for us all here at the end. So looking forward to that. So Copilot Studio, we've had a lot of conversations about Copilot Studio. It's used in a lot of different ways today. It is a tremendous tool that actually has a lot of capability, but just realize that that is the same tool that we're going to actually demonstrate with to show how you can create a voice-based IVR. So just realize that Copilot Studio, just like you would do for any chat experiences or any agents that you build, we can expose them to be available via voice as well. So just realize that's the tool we're talking about today. Now, when we talk about using Copilot Studio, there's tons of ways that we can leverage it. You know, there's elements of customer service and sales and finance and internal ones like HR or IT or legal. So there's tons of different ways that we can leverage it. Today, though, we're going to focus right there, self-help. The idea is that when you have a customer service experience and someone is calling in, the ability to take some of those activities and allow the user to have a self-help kind of experience so they can actually handle it directly from that voice agent. So what are agents? Well, really, there's kind of 3 different ways that we can kind of look at it from this perspective. We can start with the simple side, which is kind of an information retrieval. Then we can talk about it from creating tasks or having task-oriented capabilities, having the actual bot, whether it be voice or chat, actually perform actions associated with it. And then finally, we have those autonomous capabilities. This is the idea that it's going to act not only on behalf of something that we're asking, but it's going to realize that we want to do something in addition to that and do its own follow-up to kind of get us that information. To give you a better understanding of that, we're going to jump into the next slide, which tells you a little bit about that. So the idea is we may have that first question and answer website agent. This is the rapid one. We point it at a public-facing website, and you say, "Hey, tell me about what I need to know about this particular topic." It'll leverage that content and then provide it back to you very quickly. But then, maybe you need to switch. Maybe you need to go from one website to another website. Well, we can actually have it so that it can switch from context. So it can switch from, say, maybe the Board of Nursing in the first one to maybe the Board of Regents or a university website for the second. Then, of course, we can then look at agents, right? A scholarship agent that's actually going to query the backend systems. And then finally, it can take action to actually do a notification, followed by even some advanced capabilities around, proactively kind of contributing and providing feedback later, or actually recognizing that you've been a part of the system and then, doing something on your behalf. So these are the things we're going to focus predominantly on the first two. The idea of taking action, the idea of getting information, and then we'll talk a little bit about the autonomous capabilities. A little bit about architecture. There's a lot to Copilot Studio, but I wanted to kind of, make it a little bit more streamlined. We have that user experience. Today, we're going to talk about voice. Of course, we have a chat experience as well. We can have multiple chats to kind of deliver it to, but the idea is then we have that orchestrator, the ability to kind of orchestrate the interaction with all of the varied topics that we have, or tasks or tools that we're trying to attribute to the system. So from that standpoint, we have knowledge that we're going to ground the data on, and then we're going to have tools. These are those actions and autonomous or APIs that may need to be called. At the very bottom, we have those foundational models. There are capabilities that are coming to the platform around being able to kind of change the model that's underpinning certain types of things, and the ability to actually run different models with different agents and combining different agents. Some of this is still coming to GCC, but I want you to be aware of these changes as well. So now let's get into the voice channel. So the voice channel is really part of our overall experience. Today, we're going to talk about that first pillar, making every action count. The idea of you don't have to go and talk to a customer service representative to get your answers. If it's something that the agent can handle, let the agent handle it. It's going to be faster for the customer. It's going to alleviate a lot of pain points. But I don't want to forget about where agents also fit. We can use it to elevate that team impact, the idea of that customer service representative, providing more information for them, and of course, being able to operate kind of smarter in the overall capabilities. With that said, we're going to jump to the next one here. And really, we're going to get into the contact center experience. As you can see, we have multiple channels that we can deliver to. And then we have that contact center where we can get to that customer service representative, and then all those capabilities on the back end. Today, we're going to focus on that voice agent, but just wanted to put this up there to put it in context of all the capabilities in our contact center. Now let's talk about voice agents. From a voice agent standpoint, we have this, this flexibility. We can actually develop that IVR. We can actually start very simple. We can actually have that DTMF capability to press 1, press 2 that you may be very accustomed to today, or we can actually make it a fully generative experience with multi-turn capabilities and the idea of bringing forward multiple intents that can be actually captured as well. So let's talk more about some of those features. First, we have enhanced speech recognition and accuracy. With our purchase of Nuance, we've been slowly embedding that capability directly into this interface. So Copilot Studio will be surfacing all of that capabilities. We mentioned TTMF. So if you want to press 1 or a press 2 experience, we absolutely have that. But of course, we have other things that we can optimize for voice as well, including SSML. So you can actually bring forward some of that a little bit of coding to kind of optimize it for speech. We have barge-in capabilities. We have the ability to do silence detection. We can remove some of that background noise, enhance the dialogue experience. So just realize that all of those things are there and available. Not to mention that if we need to, we can, of course, escalate to a live agent at any point in time. Which brings us to where we can deliver this type of thing. The reason why I'm bringing it up is we've already mentioned that it's part of our overall suite for the contact center. And of course, that requires, Dynamics 365 Contact Center. It's part of our Azure Communication Services. We can do that first-party capability and take it end-to-end to that customer service representative. However, many of you may already have an investment, right, that you already have in place. You may already have a third-party capability that's out there, like a Genesis or a Five9s or other different types of integrations you may have. Just realize that our Copilot Studio experience can integrate with those third-party contact centers as well. So it allows you to kind of adopt the capabilities in front of your existing customer service agent experience. So the idea is if you want to start dipping your toe in this technology, being able to then, bring it into your overall adoption, you can do that as well. So let's talk specifically about generative conversations. Now, generative conversations is not specific to voice, but just realize that it is a part of voice. So today we're going to talk about those first two pillars, which are generative answers and generative actions. Now, the other one is around generative building. I cannot forget about generative building. Just realize that if you need to build your agent, you can actually start by actually just telling it what you want it to do. You can build topics, you can create adaptive cards. There's lots of things that you can do to build your agent using that generative experience. So don't want to forget about it. It's just not a focus of today. Just wanted to make sure I put it out there. As for generative answers you're probably familiar with, the ability to enable multi-turn chat, the ability to ask thousands of questions pointed at public-facing websites, being able to deliver that content directly back to the agent. Now that can be done via voice as well. So just realize that it's not something that is only for a chat experience, but also for the voice experience. And really it looks like this. I'm going to say what I want, right? There's going to look at the online relevance of it. It's going to leverage Bing for a public-facing response. And then of course, from there, it's going to leverage the model to create what that response is going to look like, and then send that reply, which will come back via the IVR capability. So let's look at all the different types of data we can deliver. Well, one, I already mentioned that public data. This is where Bing points to a public-facing website. We can support SharePoint documents as well. This is for internal only, so imagine if you could leverage this as a part of your IT support help desk. Right? You can actually leverage that SharePoint capabilities. Of course, you can also take it all the way to Azure OpenAI, so you can bring your own data or upload your documents directly into the system, and then finally also connect it to custom data sources as well. So just realize it has all those capabilities and we can deliver it all over that, generative answers over voice. Now, generative actions is the idea of being able to take some sort of action associated with it. So the idea here is, once again, we can actually chain different plugins, we can capture multiple intents, and all of this can be done via voice as well. So I always want to make sure that you're understanding that what you're bringing forward for your chat channel can also be delivered for voice, and we can actually use Azure OpenAI for more advanced capabilities. Of course, that's using all of our connectors. So the idea here is we have those agent flows, we have those connectors, so we can reach back into those data sources, do those what we would call, from a legacy system, data dips, the ability to kind of dip in and provide that information back, especially if the person can be authenticated. In fact, Earnest is going to show that today. He's actually going to show how the person's going to authenticate. They're going to do a data dip to be able to pull back the email information from that person and then verify that information. So it's going to be great. Agent flows. Now this is going to look super familiar. This is basically Power Automate, but embedded directly into the user interface to have those agent flows call those actions that you're trying to get done. So the idea is Power Automate becomes part of the overall agent experience or the agent development experience. So just so you know, it's all right there waiting for you. Well, I've talked plenty. I've talked fast. I've covered a lot of slides. We, of course, are going to share these slides with you, but the most important thing is coming next. Let's get into the demonstration. So Ernest, I'm going to hand it off to you. You tell me how to move the slides and tell me when you know where you need to be.
Fantastic. Thanks, John, for getting us kicked off. You can go to the next slide now. And so just really quickly to give you an overview of what we plan on covering today in our demo and our illustration of the IVR capability within Contact Center, we're going to have a user that's interested in, retrieving information about nursing programs and education opportunities in the state of Oregon area. And so within that, they will, obviously be, you know, asking a number of questions and just trying to get informed. And also through the process, you'll find that the agent that we built will authenticate them or validate them more so to be able to send them some information per their request. And then as a consequence of what we're doing, we're collecting information as well, right? So the collection of information will allow us to have an autonomous action that's also going to be taking place as a follow-up email that will be checking in with that individual based on their inquiry, right? So the nice thing about Dynamics of the IVR capability is that it's a great assist. Next slide, John. Appreciate you. And so with it being the ultimate is the components and attributes or artifacts that we'll be leveraging are obviously the contact center and the voice channel capability to have the landscape to be able to have the ability to communicate and be able to send those messages or send those that have that conversation with that individual seamlessly. Also, we'll have a model-driven app to be able to collect that information and to be able to be a great assist. As you see my image here of magic, it is a bit of magic that goes on in the background, but there's a level of configuration that goes into it. In the configuration, a lot of that configuration is being done through Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio has that ability, as John has mentioned, to have situational awareness, to have the knowledge, and then with the Power Automate component for flows, it also gives you the ability to process, to automate the flows, the processes, and the task orchestration. So with that being said, we're able to make all these things come together in our contact center environment to be able to have it out of the box available and streamlined through the process and through our platform. So with that, I'll share my screen. I share my audio because I won't be showing anything on the screen initially, but you'll be able to hear the bot as I go through it. And hopefully you'll be able to follow along with what I'm sharing as far as the agent interacting with the customer. 1 second here. It did not. 1 second. For some reason, I did this early and it's not allowing me. Oh, let's do this. Okay, it's not allowing me to share my sound. Let me try this.
Yeah, Ernest, I don't think you even need to share your sound because it's going to come through your mic. See, now you're muted. Ernest, now we can't hear you. Nope, you're still muted.
Okay, here we go. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's better.
Hello, and thank you for calling Oregon's Professions Connection. This call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. Please note our menu options have changed. Feel free to speak freely when responding to questions. In your own words, please tell me how we can help.
Yes, I'm interested in nursing programs in the area. Could you give me some insight what it requires to become a registered nurse? Yes, could you give me some insight to what it requires to become a registered nurse?
To become a registered nurse in Oregon, you need to complete an accredited nursing program and pass the NCLEX licensing exam. After meeting these educational requirements, you must apply for a license through the Oregon State Board of Nursing. If you are already licensed in another state, you can apply for an Oregon RN license by endorsement. Additional steps may include submitting fingerprints and undergoing a criminal history check as part of the application process.
Thank you. I also want to know if any of my previous credits or work experience could count towards my curriculum for my nursing program.
I'm sorry. I did not understand. Can you try again?
Yes, can I apply my credits and work experience to my nursing program?
The available information does not specify whether existing credits and work experience can be applied toward a nursing program in Oregon. For the most current details on offerings and admissions, it is recommended to contact nursing programs directly, as requirements may vary by institution.
Got it. Thank you for that. Are there any hybrid or online programs that I can look into for nursing?
Oregon offers nursing programs with online components, such as online independent study for the theory portion, which can be accessed from anywhere. These programs also include interactive e-cases to develop clinical decision-making skills and require a clinical practicum for hands-on experience, which is arranged collaboratively by staff and students. For the most current details on offerings and admissions, it is recommended to contact the programs directly.
Oh, fantastic. And does the job outlooks and the salaries for nurses look like for the Oregon area?
Oregon ranks among the top 3 states nationally for nurse wages. However, specific salary ranges are not provided in the available information. For more detailed and up-to-date salary information, you may want to check job listings or salary surveys specific to the nursing profession in Oregon.
Yeah. Can you give me an idea of some of the most challenges that nurses face in the field?
Oregon nurses are recognized for their leadership, advocacy, and innovation in patient care, contributing significantly to the healthcare profession across various settings such as hospitals, clinics, schools, long-term care, and home health. The state is known for having a strong nursing workforce and enforces high standards for nurse-to-patient ratios, which help support talented nurses in delivering quality care.
That's awesome to know. Are scholarship and financial aid programs available for people pursuing nursing?
Yes, there are programs for financial aid and scholarships. Would you like for me to provide information via email regarding some of the available programs?
Yes.
You can say yes. Our record shows you have visited one of our sites previously. Please tell me your user code.
It's 5926.
Thank you. I would like to confirm your user code it's 5926. Is this correct?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 3926.
Great. Your email is on the way. An error has occurred. Please try again.
Could you send me information regarding scholarship or financial aid information?
Yes, there are programs for financial aid and scholarships. Would you like for me to provide information via email regarding some of the available programs?
Yes.
You can. Thank you. I would like to confirm your user code it's 5926. Is this correct?
Yes, it's 3926.
Great. Your email is on the way. An error has occurred. Please try again.
So I'm not sure what's causing my error here, but I will walk you through the back end of my agent to show you. I've run this several times, and so we'll look at it closely so we can look at what's going on in the back end here. So give me 1 second.
I'm sorry.
Give me 1 second here, and I'll share my screen so you can see what's going on. The agent and the flows and everything that's working on the back end here. Give me 1 second. So my screen is coming up and I'm going to walk you through the interface, walk you through the different components that we're using here. I also want to check to look at that model, that app. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, so the agent is designed to go out, and I want you to see that the information that we were getting back from the agent is basically, it's serving that information up to us through the knowledge content that it's been added to the agent. So I have different links that I referenced, and just by simply adding those links, the agent is able to go out and is able to retrieve the information based on its ability to reason through an intent, right? And so from an intent standpoint, when you think of, here's my knowledge, when you think of an intent, it's able to draw context from the conversation that it's having with the customer, the user, and it's able to bring that information back. You can see in my description here, my instructions for the agent, they were pretty extensive because I wanted to make sure that I added this information so the agent would be aware of what was expected of it. And so with that, we were able to walk into the different topics. And from the onset of what we were doing, from just starting the conversation, we were able to do just that. From the start, the conversation start. As you can see here, we have our intro where we're able to kick this off and then start asking conversations. As we got into more detailed areas of the agent, so the send emails portion of it, it was being triggered based on a question being asked, as you can see, just asking about scholarships, nursing, things of that nature. And you can also see where now there's some of the logic that's getting involved to make sure that if the individual actually wants this information, it's able to collect information based on them authenticating or being recognized in the system. And so we're able to grab that and store that information. And then through the process and the actions that you have in Copilot Studio, I'm able to then do a lookup to the contact table to determine if I can send this record to this individual, right? And so if I look into, let's go back, the flows here. So in Designer, that's exactly what we were doing. We're basically taking the inputs, right, that user code from the agent, and I'm looking up to the table to validate that user code. And then what we're able to do here is also enter that information, send the email, right? And on the back end, I'm also adding information to a user inquiry table so that I can send follow-up emails to users based on their interest and be able to make sure that they are aware that we have line of sight to their interests. We can follow up. So if you're thinking about outreach and things of that nature, all of those things can be driven just by a conversation that's being had with an agent and a customer. And so the whole idea behind this was for there to be somewhat of an autonomous, an agentic type of motion on the back end where internal resources to an agency are not required to go in and filter through that information, figure out what someone asked about, and then follow up and send them a follow-up email. All of that can be done in the background just based on the information that's being tracked, that's being collected through a conversation with an agent from an IVR standpoint. And so when you look into, this was one I ran earlier today, you can see that this record came into our user inquiry table. And so based on that record being here, now it can be picked up and sent as a message, right? As you can see here, this is the ones that we ran earlier today as well. It can send that message and then also send follow-ups to an individual regarding the information that they're requesting, right? So all of these things can be done in an autonomous way, in an automated fashion. And so this is what the power of leveraging the voice component, the IVR, the self-service area of the contact center will allow for you to do. Now, these things are made possible through the integrations that we have on the back end of this, right? So when you get into, give me 1 second here. Should I get that open? So when you're thinking about, there's a lot going on, and when I was saying earlier about the great assist that we're doing from a contact center standpoint, as far as being able to bring voice, bring generative AI, and even case management, we're not getting into that today. We'll have a follow-up tech series for that. But just on the self-service side, you can see I'm in my contact center interface here and my admin center, and where you can see where everything kind of comes together is you have work streams, you have case settings, you have knowledge, you have a lot of things that you can configure here. But the biggest part here is from a standpoint of the work streams is what we'll look at in the workspaces, right? So there's a lot that you can do just from this onset of the platform being designed the way that it is. And so you have queues, you have routing, which are things that you can also control from that conversation based on some person having a conversation. They need to be routed to someone. Those things are involved as well, which we'll talk about at another time. But what I wanted to dig into is on the work streams. If I look at this, you're able to see the configuration behind the scenes from a voice telephony standpoint and to a agent standpoint of how all these things are nestled together to give you a end-to-end experience for you and your users, right? So you can see this is the number that I dialed in on. If I go in and just edit this so you can kind of get line of sight to this is a toll-free number. I'm using ACS Teams Voices. Deb mentioned earlier is also coming into play for our GCC customers as well. And so you can look into language, additional languages that you can add. You can have behavior. All of these things are configurable out of the box. So these are some of the things that we want to make sure that you're aware of. The way we were able to even have that interaction with the agent from a voice standpoint is because of these components that you're looking at here. You see, you have the routing of rules, you have work distribution, and then over here you can see that I've added my agent to this work stream, right? So you're able to see how these things are stacked together to give you that end-to-end result set that we are working with now, right? So again, this is where we want to be able to show the platform as an end-to-end solution from telephony, a voice IVR, to case management, to following up, to portal management. All of those things can be done through the contact center. And if you say, hey, I have these components, I have some of these components already in place, and I only need to use certain modules of this, capability where you have that as a resource as well, right? That's something that you can also do. So with that, I'll go back to the slide deck and we'll wrap it up for today. Give me 1 second here. Is it John? Are you gonna bring the slide back up?
Yeah, I will. I'm trying to see if it'll represent back to Teams because it kind of bounced it out.
Okay,
And there it goes.
fantastic.
Okay. Probably have to jump some slides, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Let me jump to where we are.
Fantastic. I appreciate it.
And there we go.
Thank you. And so, as we start to conclude here, we want to make sure that you are available of the different resources that will give you more insight to how you can leverage the capabilities that we are talking to you about today. We have websites, blogs, demos for you to be able to access. And so through this, there's tons of information. There's a lot of capability. So we really think it's important for you to take the time to, look at this information and reach out to your account teams and people that are supporting you so you can better understand how to leverage this, because this is a game changer as it relates to offloading tasks, creating opportunity to get work done. As a matter of fact, we didn't get into, basically going through a process of even registering or being, adding someone into a separate system. We did it back into a table within Dataverse, but even other systems that you have API connections to, all of those things could be done through a conversation that you're having with an agent over voice. So very powerful capability and really helpful when you're trying to get things done seamlessly. Next slide, John. And so with that, we just say thank you and ask if there are any, questions you may have of this. And we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And again, we look forward to talking to you in more depth around contact center capabilities in the future.
Other things that we have